morning, traders. This is the second part of this week's weekly outlook. We will start with the cryptos and then we will go to the stocks and indices. And let's start, we're in Bitcoin. So let me go back and remind everybody of the big picture of what we're looking for. This is what we're looking for. So as usual, if you're watching me, you wouldn't know what we're looking for. If you're seeing this video for the first time, you might want to know what this is about. Well, you'll have to go back to this date and look at those webinars going up there, this webinar here, look at all the webinars there, and you'll see why we forecasted to come down to this level. All right, so now we are at this level. What's next? Well, because we think this is one of the known patterns that exist in wave analysis, known as the running flat pattern, and is a simple form of a running flat pattern, there is a high probability of this anywhere within this range here start going back up. Right, there's a high probability for that. Now, there's another pattern known as the expanding flat, which means where you come and you actually break this low before you go back up. Now, those are simple patterns. There are complex patterns where this could go back up, but not actually as the impulse, but within this range, which means go back there, come back here, and then probably go. So you can stay within a sideways range here for a much longer period, but that is up and down, which is good. You can trade, right? You don't have to know whether it's going to be a simple or complex pattern if you can trade it both ways, right? So what we would look for here now is an up move. We'd look for an up move from this level. We still have sell setups. If you go back to where we were from last week, we still have sell setups, right? We still have, this is actually a sell setup here today. Is it worth taking? Yep. We don't know how low it's going to go. Maybe it's going to go lower than this. Maybe it becomes an expanding flat. All you have to be aware of when you sell something like this is when it drops to this level under this low, what happens? Does it reverse or does it continue to go? Because if it reverses, you have to get out of that trade and you have to look for buy setups on the way up. Now, if you're an investor into crypto, into Bitcoin, let's say you're long-term and you're not buying with leverage, which I think one of my traders warning the other traders today, which is good to be in a group like ours. You get information where you don't have to even go look for it. Giving information of all the people who use liquidity to trade and end up losing everything, right? With the drops, especially my good friend who was buying at 59 and telling me I have no idea what I'm talking about, that once you break this top, you're going to go to heaven. I don't know where he is anywhere. So I hope he's still around. I haven't heard from him for a while. Please come and tell us what happened to the cryptos, the Bitcoins you bought at 60 to 68. Please, I'm waiting for you to make a comment now. Now that we're at the bottom, this is where I think you should start buying, but I would not be buying now. I would allow this to break. I'd wait for the turning point and I'll wait for the flag before I start buying. But if you're a long-term investor and you want to invest, that is what you wait for. So you would definitely want my views on the way we look at patterns as to when you can buy and how you should exit if it doesn't go. And if you would like to get that, join the group. If you want to join the group, send us a Skype message. Send me a Skype message and you will get the details on how you can join my group type. That is going to be MANGAL 457. We're having a live course in February, early February. So if you want to join us, we have a group of really successful traders and very good traders and learning traders all trading together, helping each other. This is where you want to be. So let's go. Watch this for the drop. If you're interested in sell, I don't think you should sell Bitcoin here. Remember, I was telling you you shouldn't buy it here. You shouldn't be selling it here. It's too risky. It could drop really fast and it could go back up really fast. You should start looking for it. It's a sell setup, but you should start. If you're a very short-term trader, yes, the sell is yours. ETH. Same here, it's dropping. What's the big picture of this? Same running flat pattern, right? We've got this, and it turns out this might just be that one. I don't think it was. It has more waves in it, but it's possible. So there's one more drop here you can get, but then at this here, you have to watch it for the up move again. Can it become more complex? If there's any indication that the pattern could become more complex, I think this one here has an indication that this pattern could be more complex. Not just a 1, 2, 3, but maybe go back up and come back down and go back up and come back down and then go. So you could be in this sideways range for a while. We don't know if that is going to happen, but we will see each stage as it develops. So right now there is a sell setup here. You have to be careful. If you go for this sell, you really have to be careful because you're close to the point from where it could start to go back up. So it's a sell, short term, get in, get out, look for the buy. XRP. Let's see where we are. So this was a good sell, the one we called here, the sell on this one to sell that one to come down to break the low. It actually went much lower, and you still have a sell set up here. Actually, you have a very good sell set up there. Remember when we thought this pattern would go slightly above this top. It goes slightly above that top and then come down here. This was the arrow. Go back to this date and watch that webinar. Come back to this level, and somewhere here we're starting to expect the upside. Why? Well, because that's the pattern we're looking for. See, that's why. See how the magic works? So at this point, you can probably drop one more here, but you start looking for that to move up. Now the question is, do you want this? I don't think you should. Let it go and then start looking for it. By how deep can this go? It can break the low. It can even break the low quite a while before it goes back up. This is not all the corrections. So I do think we're still in the stage of making a big flat here. So once you get this drop beyond that low, you'll have to be very careful, and it's likely going to break the low for a running flat pattern. So there's a sell setup that should come here, and then we start to look for the buy. I don't think this is the start of the buy. It's too corrective. ADA. Okay, this one actually dropped really nice. That was their sell setup there. And there was a number of other sell setups, broke the low. What is the bigger picture of this? When you're in these stage, when you're breaking lows, you want to know what the bigger picture is. So this is what you have. You have a move down. We can make an argument whether this here is the entire piece or whether this belongs to itself. That's a question we can look at, separate. So you come here, you go there, you come here, you go there, you come here. Well, there's a good chance you start going up back, because you're pretty much to this level. So there's a good chance, and that is because this pattern could be ending there at any time, and yeah, we do have divergence. So there's a very good chance we might be heading back up. Go to the 1 hour, look for buy setups. Do we have buy setups? We really don't have buy setups, but this here could be because of that sharp move. It can still drop lower. You would have to wait for a flag to sell. You'd have to wait for this to make some kind of a flag here to go for a sell. But can this be some kind of a pattern forming here for upside? It's possible. Not exactly what we have, but it's possible. As a matter of fact, what I would do is to look for the buy setup is I would do it this way. I'll put this here and put an entry order for a buy here. If I have to trade it, this is what I would do. Put an entry order for a buy there. And if this takes off, you're in the trade way back to the top. This is the only one that has the closest thing to set up for a buy. These are still sell setups. This would still probably, we already broke the low. Maybe we'll still break the low. And then once that low is broken, what's next? Let's see. That sell might be over too. No, this doesn't have any indication that it's over. This could still go much more. There's no pattern there's no bigger pattern formed there as yet. It's still in the process of making that bigger pattern. So it's still downside. I would be careful here because this is pretty sharp. This is pretty sharp. So I don't think it's over. I think this might be a running flat pattern. So this one would probably go back up to the top there and then drop. More like that, something more like that. I'll just take this off for now. All we need is the low. If this is real, if that is not real, well, yes, you could be going lower. This is also consolidating at the bottom here, and if they keep consolidating, there will be a drop. In this structure, that could go much lower, right? So you're looking at this big structure. You're looking at this big one, right? We do have a sharp pullback there, and we have a sharp down move here. So this could come a little more, go back up sharp, come back down here. This would complete this pattern. This would complete 1, 2, 3, and then come back here. Complete this, and then probably go up. So even if this starts to go up, I don't think it will be the big up move, right? It's more like we're making this move down here now. So if you're gonna put something like that, you'd probably put it like this. These are the tops. I'll be looking for almost equal, not necessarily equal size of this downside. Here. Because we broke out of the structure, right? So you're looking for something like this, which should eventually go back up. So there's some more downside here. I think we can make an argument that this could come. It doesn't necessarily have to go. We're just assuming that they could be equal. They don't have to be equal. So this could come a little more, but we don't have any buy setups there, right? We're waiting for that to go. So let's see what happened there. Link. This was a perfect sell setup. This one was the easiest one of them. You're breaking out. You had a flag there. That was a perfect sell. Drop. You're getting another sell setup here. Where the low, do we have a good sell setup, risk to reward? Well, that depends if you think it's going to drop through the bottom totally. I don't think so, because this has a really big flat in it, and this one has zero big flat in it. This one is very sharp. So if you're looking at a big structure like this, I think we might still be in the consolidation. And there's still a possibility for this to go back up here, come back down, maybe even go back up, come back down, and then go. So we might still be in this sideways here for a while before we actually go up. Now, what if you break the low and take off? Remember, the next move up, the next move is up, right? So if it is going to be the one that takes off, good for you. Should you be selling at the bottom there? Well, there might still be some more downside, but I don't think you want to sell. Right? It still looks like a sell setup in the making. Right? Like if we're making a flag here for downside, but I would let it go. Wait for the buy setup and then go for the buy. Well, there is no good setup here and here, not the buy, not the sell. Temporarily, this looks like it's going to give you a short-term buy to the upside here. Maybe running flat and then come back here. It's not a good trade setup, so I think we'll probably leave that. Big picture in this is still not good, because we're still within this range, right? We're still in this whole sideways move, right? If we put like that, and we're consolidating quite a lot here. So even if they go back up, they might just break this top and come back here. Do we have a good buy setup on it? Let's see. Actually, it's starting to look more like a sell setup. This whole piece is starting to look like consolidation for downside. So under 15 minutes, probably we'll wait for something. You don't have anything here to sell, anything to buy. I'll probably stay out of this. It's not giving any good trade setups that you can go with. This is starting to look more like a buy setup here. Let's see what's the bigger picture. Yeah, that might be a buy setup starting there. I wouldn't be surprised if they consolidate here some more and then go back up. All right, go back up. You came down, up, came down, up, and then probably come back down. So maybe best thing is look for a buy setup from this point. If you do get a sell, it will be more of a flat pattern, which means this would have to consolidate quite a lot here. Go back up there, come down here, make a flat, and then the sell. So right now, I think the most, the most possible trade for short term would be to buy. Same here. It's consolidating in this range. So if you consolidate there, you'll probably go back up. Let's see what the big picture is. Coming down, but you're coming down in a very corrective manner. So at any point in time, this could go back up to this top, maybe continue to go down like this, or just take off to the upside. So the buy from this point is a good idea. Start looking for that buy setup. We don't have a buy as yet, but it's kind of consolidating. So if they break out, if it drops lower, just let it go. You see, there's no good sell setup in this one. Same here, you're getting a buy setup in this one, in this range. You're getting a flag there for a buy. What's the big picture in this? Nothing. Can this go lower? Well, if it comes, if the consolidation comes lower, then it will become a sell. So if this consolidation comes back to about this level, then it will go back up there, make a flat, and that becomes a sell. Otherwise, that is more of a buy right now. This could be both sides, but most likely the sell. So this, when this was consolidating 1, 2, we were expecting a 3 and then go back up. Instead it dropped. So this one we didn't get anything because I didn't see that drop coming. This one didn't break the top. If the top was broken, I'll go for the sell. Because the top was not broken, I'll be very cautious. Same here. You're getting a flat like this in the middle here. This should go back up there, but once it goes back up there, I'll be considering this a sell setup. rather than a buy. Now, the way this is going, there's a lot of sharp moves in it. This one is sharp, this one is sharp. So at some point you'll start to, all the sharp moves will start fulfilling themselves, because every sharp move will have to be part of a pattern, right? At some point. We're back at this low. It doesn't really mean in this big structure, that doesn't mean anything. So if you get a sell set up here, you can take it to go lower, and then we'll have to wait for the bigger structure to start to form. All you have is one, go with this one. You have a pullback and you're getting another one down. That's all, right? It's not a big, this is not a full corrective structure. I don't think it is. And remember, all of this is happening in this one. So that means we're making some kind of a B wave here, which after which we'll go back up, and then, so let this go down some more and then look for the buy setup. I don't know, somewhere a little lower, drop, let it drop, and then you start to look for your buy setup. Same here. At this point, I'll be looking for buy setups. See, this is what we had. So from here, we forecasted to come back down here, and it literally dropped all the way to that level. Start to look for your buy setups now. Right, the forecast worked, it worked. And now what you look is, it should go up, right? By our way we look at things, this should start to go up. So I'm going to put this one. It could go a little lower. I don't know that it will go a little lower, but it could go a little lower. And then we're looking for the upside. So rather than set it, let it drop, you don't have a buy setup as it stands right now. It's a buy setup, but it's not a clear one. I probably, if you want to buy, you can buy above this stop just to be sure. Put an entry to buy above this stop here. Don't buy it in here, because you know this could still go lower, and then you get a flat and you drop lower. If that's the case, that within the week that will happen. You will not see it. I wouldn't be able to update you guys on it, right? Unless you subscribe to my channel, which means if you take the installment program, you get my daily webinar and you'll see that, right? And the last one, Dash. Also, Dash is consolidating at the top part of this here, which means it's looking upside, but it could consolidate deeper. And if it does that, it will be more of a flat for the upside. Right now, it's looking upside, short term, at least to the upside. Right? Did we break the low? Yeah, we broke the low. Can we go lower? Of course. It can always go lower. I don't think it will, but it can always go lower. So you can go with this is the flat. This ended that flat structure there. We came lower, so it's like 1, 2, 3 in here. This is a much bigger one. I still think we're going to go back up. So start looking for the upside. I think it's worth start looking for the upside. Maybe one more drop and then start looking for your upside. Okay, that's all for the crypto. I didn't add any new crypto because none of the ones that the guys posted with comment had even 10 likes on that, which means it's individually you're trading that, you and 2 or 3 more people are trading it. I would look for the ones that have 10 and more likes on them. And those are the ones we're going to add. So if people don't want them, then there's no need me putting on for 3 people, right? Because these are viewed by hundreds and thousands of people. So we need to make sure that there's a lot of people who wants it. UK oil. So UK oil, we were looking at this sharp drop. While it was still a flag here, we were looking for a sell setup. Now that it's back at the top there, take this off. You're looking for a flat. You're looking for this to come back here. This will probably go some more, come back here, make a flat, and then upside. That's a simple pattern. But it doesn't matter whether this becomes a complex pattern, it is still going to be for the upside, right? That means more upside, more buys like this. We'll take off the buys because we took off a lot of them. Same thing here, we were looking for a sell, but then now that it's gone up that much, there's a high probability it's gonna go more. So this would consolidate, go more, consolidate, go more, and then this would have to come back here for a flat to go up. So it's more of a flat pattern in the making. Now, if you want to buy the short term to the upside, you have to be very careful. Natural gas, wait for it to complete the flat, then look for the buy. Natural gas, take off this as well. It's going to consolidate more, and then we'll get the sell set up. US 30. Yep, we were looking at these sell setups here, like this one and this one, but you see it dropped here, it didn't go far. You'd have to get out of it. Actually, you have a perfect buy setup here. It could be short term, which means you'll have to manage this trade, but it's a perfect buy setup, right? And especially in the bigger structure where you are, see where we are in the bigger structure. That's a point from where they go back up, right? So somewhere once they drop, they go back up, they drop, they go back up, they drop, they go back up, they drop, they go back up. Well, this one dropped here, go back up, this drop, high probability of them coming back all the way back to the top. So if you take a buy setup here, and you do have a buy set, you see, if you take a buy here, the chances are, well, worst cases, it's just going to only do this and then drop. You can get out of that trade, like this one here, right? If you bought this, it does that drop, you can get out of the trade. But what if it actually do this? Then you're in a very good trade. So the buy setup is a good one, actually. Let's put this for the buy. S&P 500, same thing. That sell we were in, we got out of the sell. You shouldn't. There's a buy setup forming here in the S&P. I'll be careful of the S&P because we broke out of the structure, right? See that? It broke out of the structure very deep, and it's going back up. Now, it could go back up either as a consolidation for more downside or a new high. Right, this could go back, make a new high. It could be just a consolidation for downside. So you can still buy it if you're going to go for the buy. You just have to, with that new information, you have to know how to manage it. Right, the idea of understanding where the pattern is understanding how you're going to manage the trade. But it's a buy setup. This is the buy as well, and this one should be NASDAQ. Yeah, that was a sell close. This is the buy. You're getting a buy setup. It could be short term. Let's see what the bigger picture is on this one. Oh, this one broke out quite a lot. So yeah, same thing. It may or may not go back higher. Let's see. Do we think this is going to drop big time? Not necessarily. I don't think it's going to get a big drop. There's a chance you get a drop, but there's a very good chance it just continue to go. It could go back up and retest the top. So watch it very carefully in the 1 hour. It's a buy in the 1 hour. If it doesn't go really fast, if it doesn't go really high, you just move it to break even and leave it. PayPal. PayPal was downside. If you sell it, it's going down some more. I think this could drop some more too. We did tag that top there, right, when it was coming down. So this might be part of a really, really big correction in the making. And this would just be the first impulse down on the big one with a three-wave structure, like 1, 2, 3, come lower and then start going back up very, very slow. So this could be a long, drawn-out consolidation in the making here. DAX, let's see what this is doing. Great. It's back at the top. It's coming down. Remember, we expect this to come down. We were looking for sells there. If you still get sells here, we'll go with the sells. Because on the 1 hour, once we get back to the top in that range, we're looking for sells. It's slow, but it's coming down. So you still have sell setups. This was a sell setup. You might get another sell setup here. Watch it back to this level and then upside. Because that would complete the three-wave structure, right? Like 1, 2, 3, and then upside. Nifty. Oh, this is a sharp pullback. That's a sharp drop. It's strange because we haven't broken the top. So if you get a pullback here or a flag or consider the sell, but I think it might be a bigger correction at the top there. We haven't broken the top, so I'm not expecting them to drop right now. I expect them to probably make a bigger consolidation here. We don't have any consolidation anywhere, but let's see. If it makes a consolidation, a pullback, then it becomes a sell. If you're selling in the 1 hour and the lower time frame, you're in the sell already because there are a lot of small flags in these. But on the bigger time frame, you need a deeper pullback. Amazon. Yep, that was a good sell. It actually dropped much lower than I expected it to. Because I thought from this point, we'll just come about, break that low and go back up. Well, it's come all the way to the bottom. So here's the question. Is this really the pattern? If this was the first pattern, and that is the top of Amazon, we came back to the top here twice. That's rare for a reversal, that they go back all the way to the top and then reversed. So I think we might be looking at a more of an expanding flat pattern, right? A bigger expanding flat pattern. I'll leave this low here for the break and we'll see where that takes us. Now, any consolidation under the low becomes a sell, right? If they consolidate under the low, you can still sell. But at this point, you're most likely looking for, is there going to be a reversal, right? Is it going to pull back up, make flags, and then you can buy back all the way to the top? Tesla. Coming down, this is expected. We were expected to come lower. You're in a bigger pattern here now, so this can come all the way back to the low, maybe go back up and consolidate there. Can we be still in this bigger pattern coming back in? This would have been okay if we're gone, but now that we're not gone, this is another flat. So which means this is still not there as yet. We're just making a bigger flat here. And then there's a chance we'll make a new high, and then we'll come back here and then go. So we'll get something like this with a bigger flat in the middle. I don't think it's a reversal of anything I said. It's just consolidated. Right. So you can still sell short term to the bottom. I would probably allow it to pull back first. Let this pull back like this and then go for this sell with a running flat pattern in the middle. That would be the best sell setup. And let's see. Okay, you're still in this up move going slowly. It probably will go more. We don't have a sell setup there as yet, but if we get it, you'll take it. So if this drops, make a flag, then we'll consider the sell. Can they come here and go back up again? Yep. As long as they keep doing this, just ignore it. We'll look for the sell. That's all. So for the cryptos, we can still add the 5 if there's more. You know, if you get any one of them with about 10, 15 more likes in them, then we'll add to those. And for the stocks, eventually we'll change them. We'll see which are the most popular stocks around, and then we'll do that next month. Let's finish with the cryptos this month, and next month we'll change the stocks. So guys, thank you for your patience and thank you for watching. Please share it. I would see all of you next week. Maybe sometime this week I'll do an update if there's a lot of change for you guys, but the best thing to get the daily webinar is join me, right?